Okay, Bree, are you doing this call? This is you, right? All right, let's rock and roll.
Yep, I'm ready when you guys are.
Rule one of business: don't let the tail wag the dog. 9 on the dot. Start whether everyone's there or not. Let's roll. Let's go, and people will jump on.
All right, so LCD was kind of my first big event that I went to, that I initiated to go to on my own. So I really took the time this weekend to kind of put myself into the event and listen to what was going on. And I posted the other day about something that had happened while we were right smack in the middle of LCD. So I was going to talk about that and kind of explain to you guys how I got there through the event this weekend. When I joined LCD, I went in with the focus of becoming a better leader to other people. But what I realized at the end of the weekend was that I need to be a leader for myself before I can lead other people. And something that BU said on the first day was that a true leader takes responsibility for themselves. And that was when my mind shifted that weekend to, okay, this isn't about me leading others. It's about me leading me first and making the right steps so that when I have more people on my team, I understand how to teach them and how to understand the kind of coaching that they need and the kind of leadership that they need. And so one of the first questions and things that BU talked about was, are you leadable? Can you let someone else lead you to the right direction? Which is kind of what happened to me this weekend. That event led me to knowing that I need to learn how to lead before I can lead other people. And the second thing that he asked was, are you coachable? Are you open to receiving feedback? And are you open to asking for feedback and not taking it as criticism, but knowing that it's an opportunity? If somebody is coaching you on something, do you take it personally, or do you take it, okay, that's something I can learn from, and that's something that I can apply? And then he asked, are you teachable? Are you able to be learned by being taught? And when we think we have things figured out, that's when we become not teachable anymore. If we think we know everything, there's nothing anybody can teach us because, well, we think we know everything. So then you don't become teachable. So I took those 3 things to heart, and I really focused on what was coming. And something that caught my attention during the weekend was when we got into talking about situations and what situation that you're in. So for example, situation 1, and this is about the situation, not about the person, but it's about where you're at in your journey. And situation 1 was the enthusiastic situation. So you have low skill, but you have high engagement. So that's somebody that's, say you have a brand new promoter that's like, I just bought a max builder pack and I've messaged everybody I know, and I've done this and I've done this, and they're applying their engagement, but they don't really have the knowledge yet to be able to promote it the right way. And then situation 2 was the dabbling situation. So you have a moderate to high skill. You pretty much know what you're talking about when it comes to ketones. You have the basics, but your engagement is very varied. So sometimes you're engaged, but not really, you know, oh, I'll post a live today, but then it takes you 3 days to do it. Or I'll follow up with this person, but it takes you, you know, an extra day to do it. And then there was situation 3, which was experience. And that one is high skill, high engagement. So somebody who would be, a situation 3 would be somebody like Tony, who has very high skill, very high knowledge, and he's always engaging. So he's always doing lives, he's always making posts. He's leading Zooms, he's very skilled and very engaged in what he's doing. So that took me to, okay, well, where do I sit in this engagement? And I discovered that I am in a dabbling situation. So I have a moderate to high skill, but I don't engage as much as I should. So I took that and I thought, okay, I need to focus on this. I need to become a situation 3. And then the next day, when we got to day 2, Mitch Newman spoke about using the right words. He talked about using, following up and saying things like, I'm here to support you, rather than saying, I'm here to help you. Because when you tell somebody that you're there to help them, it kind of makes them feel like, oh, well, I feel silly for asking for help. It's easier to ask for support than it is to say, can you help me? It's a lot easier to say, I need some support in this situation. And then following up with everybody that you talk to. You say to them, you know, I'm here for support, and then give them the support they need, but then check back with them and make sure that they're doing okay. And it was so crazy because at that moment he was talking about that, I got a notification from the Pulse app on my phone, and I saw that somebody had ordered product, and I was like, I haven't had a conversation. I don't recognize this name. It was a name I'd never seen, never had a conversation, never had anybody touch base with me. So I went into my back office and I looked, and there was this lady's name. She was from the United States, which was really cool because I only had one other customer from the States. And I'm like, okay, well, where did this lady find me? So now here I'm going through Facebook. I have no notifications. I have no messages. I'm going through Instagram. I have no notifications. I have no messages. Then it dawned on me and I was like, maybe it's from TikTok. So then I look at TikTok, and sure enough, a lady named Wendy had added me or started following me on TikTok. So I tried to find her on Facebook, couldn't find her. And at that moment, I went into my back office, sent an email through Pulse to connect with her. And I said, you know, thanks for your order. I really appreciate it. I told her I wanted to connect with her and that I was there for support to help her out. So she messaged me back right away, which was super exciting. And she told me, I don't have Facebook, or sorry, I gave her my Facebook handle, my Instagram handle, told her to, you know, find me on social media. But then she told me she didn't have TikTok, or she didn't have Facebook. She didn't have Instagram. So then I said, okay, let's connect on email. I said, I'm here to support you. And then another thing that Mitch told us was, when somebody signs up, tell them to message you as soon as their ketones get there, before they drink them, and connect with them that way as well. So I took all these things that Mitch had talked about and the situation that I was in and being a leader, and I put it into this email with this lady, and now we've connected. I have a customer in the United States who never reached out to me, but I took it upon myself to make sure that I connected with her and let her know that I was there to support her. I was there to help her and keep in contact with her. I could have left it for later. I could have not responded, which is probably something that I would have done. You know, I would have just been like, hey, you know, let me know if you need help and I'm here for you. But it was taking it to a deeper level. And in that moment, I realized that, yes, I can be teachable. Yes, I can be leadable. And yes, I can be coachable, because I was open to the things that were being taught and being led in LCD that weekend. So that was kind of my story from that weekend. And now I've got a second international customer in the US to go along with my other one and my UK customer.
So what else did you learn at LCD? That was the story that you posted, but I said share that story out rather than just post it. What else did you learn? If you've got like your top 3, not just learning, but practicable, if you understand what I mean by practicable that you can use right away, what 3 top practicable skill sets could you share now? Let's assume everyone here is brand new, doesn't know anything. If you've got 3 top pro tips for everyone on this call right now. So I also want to learn from you at where you're at, so I can improve on what I'm doing. So top 3. I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
That's okay. I have my 10 pages of notes. The first thing that I learned from LCD this weekend, and probably the biggest thing that stood out for me, was using your words. Changing your words will change your world. If you're using the right words with the right people, it will make the biggest difference in the customers that you attract. You have to understand who the people are that you're talking to. You have to understand the words that and the phrases that you can use that are going to help advance them, because not everybody's the same. I wouldn't talk to Tony the same way I'd talk to Paul, or the same way I'd talk to Dawn, because they're all on different journeys and they're all different people. You can't use the same, you know, standard phrases with everybody, because people don't. It's like trying to teach different people, you know, people who have different learning styles, trying to teach everybody how to visually learn. Not everybody can learn visually. Some people need to be hands-on, some people need to be visual, some people need audio, right? So you have to understand how you're teaching these people. The second thing that I learned, know what your transferable skills are. Know what you're skilled in. Are you approachable? Are you personable? Are you coachable? Are you trustworthy? Know what skills that you can bring to the table when you are coaching a team, when you're coaching new promoters, new customers, seasoned promoters, seasoned customers, and use your skills. You know, if you're a high energy person, that's something you want to bring to the table because that's engaging for people. If you're personable, you want to relate to people because that brings them in and makes them feel kind of warm and fuzzy and relatable. And then the last thing that I learned was probably one of my favorite things is when we talked, Mitch Newman did breakout room in day 2, and I've never heard him speak. I've never heard him coach, and he like changed my world completely. And my biggest takeaway from Mitch was listening and not, how do I explain this? Listen and be aware, listen to the question before you think of the answer in your head, absorb the entire question. He talked about making the turn. So number 1 is listening, sitting in the pocket, allowing them the opportunity to speak and be heard, and catch the meaning of it. Be present and hold space with that person. So really, rather than thinking of what you're going to say to them, let them speak on everything that they need to talk to you about and really listen to the question. Reflect back. So repeat what you heard, your interpretation of them, brings them back into their own body. If you've got somebody who's super stressed out and you can relate with them and bring them kind of back down to the ground. Seize the opening, start asking questions, and then request permission to coach. Ask, are you open to coaching? Are you open to support? Are you open to me helping you deal with this situation? And I think a lot of times people tend to get really excited or talk over other people and they don't really listen, and they try to relate. Like somebody's like, oh, my dog died, and you're like, oh, you know, my dog just went through this too, and all of a sudden you've turned it into about you versus it being about them, right? So when somebody's coming to you with a problem, or they're asking for support, or they're asking for coaching, you have to remember that it's about them and it's not about you, and you need to try and focus and give your attention to them. Because you'll get better feedback from that versus turning it around and making it all about you or trying to make money, right? You said you can feed your ego or you can feed your pocketbook. You can't feed both. So those are my 3 biggest takeaways from the weekend. I could keep going, but I've got like 20 pages of notes. I learned a lot this weekend. Keep
going, because this is your call. Own it.
Okay, so day 3, actually, I wanted to talk about this quickly. Day 3, we got some coaching from Jessie Lee. And again, it's another thing I've never really gotten coached on, was actually sitting down and listening to Jessie Lee talk. And she came out with the importance of events, which I never really looked at it the way that she explained it. But she said, the more people you have at events, the more people you'll get out of it. So when it comes event time, it should be something that's being hyped. She said, you know, if you can buy tickets in bulk and have an incentive for your team, or give you get them at a discount so you can offer that discount to your team. She said, one thing is, when you bring people to an event, everybody that you have an event is an extra $1,000 into your business, because so many people's lives change. Know the difference between announcing an event and promoting an event. It's one thing to say, oh yeah, you know, this event's happening, you know, you should get on it, versus promoting it and leading up to it, building up to it. Kind of like we're building up to this group, we should be building up to events the same way and get people involved and get them, you know, to want to be there. Personally invite team members to events. Don't assume people are plugged in. Do things where you can get people to brag. You know, you want to bring everybody in the group. You want people to be like, damn it, sounds like I really missed out on a really good event. I'm going to be at the next one. Be direct, be competitive. And another thing that she said that really caught my mind is, are you really in Prove It if you've never attended an event? She said, you really fully dive into the world of Prove It once you attend an event. So it's really exciting that there's going to be a lot of live events this year, because virtual events are fun, but I think being in an actual event with the entire situation around you. And, you know, she said, people are crying on the spot and people are laughing and you're sitting beside a complete stranger. And by the end of the day, you and that stranger are absolutely best friends, and you could come from 2 different countries or 2 different worlds, but realize you have so much in common. And she said, you'll never regret investing in your organization. And that was just, it was like, events, do events. That's where you're going to build your business. You know, you start with 10 people at an event. The next one, make sure you take 20 people to your event and 30 people. And she showed us pictures of her first event that she went to. And then each, you know, year, a different event, and her team just grew and grew. And it went from having, I think she said 15 people at her first event to 900 people at the last event photo that she showed. It was insane. It was crazy. So those were my biggest takeaways. I was so fired up all weekend. It was crazy. I can't wait to go to a live event and do another one. So I signed up for Playbook. Like, I didn't even hesitate. I signed up for Playbook. I bought my ticket. I didn't really have the money for it, but I said, you know what? I gotta do it.
Playbook is, I know there's people on here been on Playbook, and it's just very practicable. It literally is, hey, here's this, do that. Here's this, do that. Here's this, do that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I'm not going to drag this on. Just want to cap it with, I'm going to ask you something now. You had half an hour to speak. You thought you had half an hour's worth of content, correct?
Well, 20 minutes. I was like 20 minutes, and
I dragged you out to 15 to fill in half an hour. And were you doing this? And this is all part of what we're doing here. Is, I know Paul came up with this the other week. He was like done in 5 minutes. It's not as easy as it looks. However, it gets easier. So when you guys pick on me for rambling on about stories, there's a reason for it. Okay? Anyway, thanks so much. I got that. Change your words. We'll change it. We'll change your world. I've never heard that before. That is amazing.
I believe that was it Mitch that said it? Mitch or Mandy?
That sounds very Mitchy.
I think it was.
I mean, I speak a lot about pattern language. However, I've never kind of heard it just thrown out so succinctly as that. So
yeah. Well, there was sorry, I just found one more point. I just wanted to tell you guys that Dustin Schaefer said this: if you have 10 customers and 8 love the product, but 2 don't, you'll hear from the 2 90% more than you'll hear from the other 8. And that's where your words make an impact. Sorry, I just passed it.
That's so true. Okay, we got it. Thanks so much. I'm not sure who's up tomorrow, but we'll have more LCD stuff tomorrow. And you guys want to carry on with us, that's fine. Dawn made a great point there. It can be more impactful when things are shorter and concise. So thanks again, Bree. Appreciate you. Thanks for showing up, guys. I believe this is recorded. So these are events. Let's get people to these videos. They are events. Biggest takeaway from this call: on call leadership right now. I'm doing it. Adios, guys.
Bye.